Hello and welcome to a CISSP micromodule on memorizing the software development lifecycle. The software development lifecycle has many phases and approaches. The common body of knowledge seems to combine them all into one big mess, and even in the official guide put out by ISC2, the section headers don't match the diagrams throughout the module. Now, if you've never dealt with the SDLC, I've come up with a great mnemonic to help you quickly memorize the steps of the SDLC, which will bring you one step closer to understanding also what happens at each step. To start out, let's look at why a mnemonic might be needed. The official guide presents both steps and substeps together and is not consistent, as I said before, between the diagrams and the subsections. Here are the phases presented in the CBK, or the common body of knowledge. Project initiation, functional requirements, system design specifications, develop and implementation, acceptance, testing and evaluation, certification and accreditation, transition to production, revision and replacement, and maintenance and operations. With 10 phases it seems impossible, but here's a trick to memorize it. Imagine that your friend Alice wants to attract a man into her life. Now, you've all heard the saying that a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So Alice comes to you for advice, asking how to make a man fall in love with her. You tell her to make some food for him. Specifically, you tell her this: please fry some dead animals to catch the right man. Let that sink in for a second. Repeat it. Please fry some dead animals to catch the right man. Now, I understand that if the man is vegan, this won't do any good, but for the purposes of memorization, this will work wonders for you. Repeat this several times and write it down on your memorization sheet. Now let's look at what happens at each phase, keeping in mind that ISC2 makes special note to mention that security should be done in all phases of the SDLC. So the first phase, project initiation, that's where the idea is documented. This is probably where the decision has already been made and the project approved. Next is the functional requirements. This is where it's decided what the software will do, where the functional requirements are documented, and also the security requirements are formalized. Next, the system design specifications phase is where the architecture and the data flow is documented. At the D, the development and implementation, this is where the actual coding occurs, including the security coding. During the acceptance phase, this is where it's decided whether or not the system meets the objective. It's where the test data is created and the code is tested. Now, this could be a little difficult to differentiate between this and the next phase, which is the testing and evaluation of controls. This is where actual tests are performed, both expected and unexpected. So the key difference between acceptance and testing and evaluation of controls is that the acceptance phase is where the decision is made. This is where they decide whether or not it's going to meet the objective. And then the actual scenarios and the tests are done at the next phase, and the exam may combine these two. You just never know. Next comes the certification and accreditation, sometimes called authorization, where the system is evaluated against a standard such as NIST. The next phase is the transition to production, or the implementation. Sometimes you hear this referred to as the go live. The R phase, the revisions and system replacement. This is where, if any changes need to be made to the system, it'll undergo the change management process. And security audits are also mentioned at this phase. And the last phase, maintenance and operations. This is where the system is fully live, the system is being used by your organization, and where risk analysis, backup and recovery testing occurs, and recertifications. Basically the repetition of the certification and accreditation phase here. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the box below. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thanks, and have a great day.